We live on the same floor as my parents, but in different apartments. They bought me a separate place when I got into college, for which I am immensely grateful. My relationship with my mom is better than with my dad. He has a difficult personality, often grumpy and sometimes acts like a small, foolish child. He also loves to give unsolicited advice. By tradition, I go to my parents' place for dinner every day. Mom is an amazing cook. That day was no exception. In the evening, I took some pastries with me and went to their apartment. Dad started complaining again, saying that at my age I should already have a boyfriend, and if I don't, it means there's something wrong with me. Thankfully, Mom understood me and told Dad that he was talking nonsense, and that everything happens in its own time. Dad kept insisting that the house should have a protector, which infuriated me to no end. I even wanted to go home, but I stayed for the delicious dinner and pastries with tea. Mom looked at Dad angrily, understanding why I was leaving, but he sat there unfazed. After saying goodbye to my parents, I stepped into the hallway and inserted the key into my door. The lock was open. This didn't surprise me since I often forget to lock the front door, especially when I leave for my parents in the evening. Entering the apartment, I turned on the light and saw a note on the floor. I cautiously approached it and picked it up. In large letters, it said, "Forget to lock the door again, and you'll die." I immediately stepped out of the apartment and onto the landing, ringing my parents' doorbell. Waiting for them to open the door was terrifying. The dim light and silence of the old building filled me with fear. I felt like someone might jump out and kill me at any moment. When my parents opened the door, I told them everything. "What a nightmare, sweetheart," Mom said. "It's just some kids messing around," Dad said. "You both don't listen to me, but I'm right about needing a protector, a man in the house. All right, let's go check your apartment since you won't listen to me otherwise." Dad went to check. When he returned, he said no one was inside. He searched the entire place. Mom hugged me and tried to comfort me, while Dad kept pushing his point. We all went to my apartment and they stayed with me for a while before leaving since it was already late. I went to wash my makeup off in the bathroom. Standing over the sink with my soapy face, I felt a wave of fear. The same helplessness you feel when you can't open your eyes because of the soap, and you have to spend time rinsing it off, fearing someone might be standing behind you and you can't even check. After that, I went to bed. In the darkness, I felt scared again. I started imagining things. What if he's hiding in the closet or somewhere else, like behind the curtain? I was gripped by fear. Every creak in the apartment felt like a knife sliding across my heart. Finally, I snapped, quickly jumped up, and turned on the light in the room, locking the door and blocking it with a nightstand. Then, remembering the closet, I approached it very hesitantly. Opening the doors and looking down at the shoes, I saw another note. My hands were shaking as I nervously picked it up and read the text. "Are you sure you locked the front door and the bedroom too? Remember, forget again, and it will be the end for you." Fear overtook me again. I sat on the nightstand by the door just in case someone tried to break in. I wanted to call my parents, but the thought of having to walk through the dark hallway to open the door for them scared me even more. I decided it was better to sit there. It said that if the door was locked, nothing would happen. And it was locked, so I was probably safe. Besides, maybe it really was just a prank by some kids. Half an hour later, I decided to turn off the light again. When I woke up, it was already daylight outside. After washing up, I prepared breakfast and got ready for school. As I stepped out into the hallway, I saw a homeless man. The stench was unbearable, and he was huge. He looked at me and started waving. I greeted him, and he stopped waving, staring intently at me. What if it was him who did this? Panic surged through me. I quickly went back into the apartment, locked the door, and called my parents. Mom and I decided to call the police. They arrived quickly and took the homeless man away. Relieved, I stepped out again and headed to school. Nothing suspicious happened after that. Coming home in the evening, I even felt a bit ashamed that they had taken the homeless man because of us. But recalling his face and strange behavior still made me uneasy. At night, I was scared to sleep again. I put the nightstand by the door and checked the closet as I had been doing every day. The letters stopped coming, but the panic remained. I couldn't stand being home alone, and I started considering staying with my parents. Mom tried to calm me down, while Dad insisted it was just a prank by some kids and that I shouldn't be scared. For some reason, my fear seemed to annoy him. One evening when we were having dinner, Dad started apologizing to me. "Sweetheart, I'm sorry. It was me who played that prank on you. You know how I hate it when you don't lock the door, so I asked our neighbor to scare you a bit." "You're lying," I exclaimed. "Why?" I was filled with rage. "So, does that mean I can leave the door unlocked tonight?" Dad confidently replied, "Sure, you can leave it unlocked once, and trust me, nothing will happen. It was all a setup to teach you a lesson, but I didn't think you'd become paranoid and start fearing every little noise." Tears welled up in my eyes. I stood up and went home. Mom didn't try to stop me. She knows my personality, that I need time to cool off. When I got home, I intentionally left the door unlocked, knowing that Mom would come over in about an hour to calm me down. My phone battery was low, so I plugged it in to charge and lay down in bed. Lying there, I got lost in my thoughts. It hurt so much that Dad had done this. How could he treat his daughter like that? What if he just said that to calm me down? No, I don't want to believe that. Maybe I should lock the door after all. I was about to get up and lock it when I heard the door open. I wanted to call out to Mom, but the footsteps were different. I quietly slid under the bed. Amid the dirt under the bed, I saw a pair of men's feet enter the room. The shoe size was enormous, and that awful smell returned. He walked over to my bed and sat down. My heart was pounding so hard it felt like he would hear it. Then he got up, opened the closet, and climbed inside. The front door opened again. "Sweetie, don't be scared, it's me!" I heard Mom call from the hallway. I wanted to shout, "Run!" But the fear was paralyzing. If I made a noise, he might kill me. But what if he didn't? But Mom was already in the room. I stuck my hand out from under the bed and signaled, "Run." "Sweetie," was all she managed to say. He emerged from the closet. Mom screamed. The monster quickly reached her. I heard a snap, and Mom's body fell to the floor, her head facing me. He had snapped her neck like she was a rag doll. I closed my eyes to avoid seeing it. I was trembling. Then I heard footsteps again. When I opened my eyes, I saw him climbing back into the closet. How I regretted charging my phone. A few minutes later, the door opened again. I heard footsteps. Dad entered the room, saw Mom, and screamed. The closet door flew open, and that giant easily threw Dad to the floor, pinning him down. Dad saw me under the bed. In that moment, I saw a knife flash. It was followed by a series of stabs. I closed my eyes and started praying. The closet door shut once more. When I opened my eyes, I saw my parents' faces. Their eyes were filled with blood. Time moved painfully slowly, and with each second, my despair grew. I was furious at my father. This was all his fault. He might as well have killed us himself. Why did he lie about the neighbor's prank? I decided to try and quietly crawl out and escape unnoticed. I began to move slowly. When my hand emerged from under the bed, the closet door opened. I quickly pulled it back and froze. He stepped out of the closet, approached my desk, and started doing something. I couldn't see anything but his legs. After about 5 minutes, he walked back to the bed. I heard a thud. Something fell to the floor. It was a mask, very realistic. One of those expensive ones that completely change your appearance. Then a note fell to the floor. The monster stood up and left the room. I heard the front door close. Very carefully, without crawling out from under the bed, I grabbed the note. It read, "You paid for leaving the door unlocked. Forget again, and you'll die. Did you enjoy the show from under the bed? By the way, thanks for the tour of the police station. Unfortunately, it ended quickly. They couldn't handle my smell and let me go after 5 minutes. If you want to see the real me, just leave the door unlocked. I quickly bolted from under the bed and ran to the front door. I locked all the bolts, checked the apartment, and immediately called the police. When they arrived, they were horrified, and I was furious that they had let him go. Though, in reality, he hadn't technically broken any laws. But if he had spent just 1 day in jail, or if my dad hadn't lied to me, everything would have been different.